I'm Patty Ann Brown for FoxNews.com. The search continues on day 3 in Nepal to find the missing U.S. Marine helicopter with 8 on board. Rescuers are searching a wide region outside the country's capital. The Marines there are part of a Joint Task Force 505. It's a unit working with the Nepalese government in the wake of 2 devastating earthquakes that killed thousands of people in the region. Here now with the latest from Nepal is Brigadier General Paul Kennedy, commander of Joint Task Force 505. Welcome, General. And can you give us an update on that missing Marine helicopter?
Patty Ann, we've been operating for the last 48 hours nonstop, trying to find these lost servicemen. There's 6 Marines on that helicopter, plus 2 members of the Nepal Army. When they were first reported about 3 days ago, they were delivering supplies out to a fairly remote region in Dolika district. So they went to a city called Cherakat, very small town, and that's the last known contact we had. We searched the rest of that afternoon, and then all day yesterday and all day today, we've continued that search.
And from what I understand, you are getting leads from the local villagers, but some of what they're seeing are helicopters that have flown by searching for the missing ones. So, so far, nothing solid. That's correct.
Before the second earthquake hit, we were delivering relief supplies to those various outlying villages. So they've been seeing helicopters for the last 2 weeks. The earthquake came 3 days ago. We started looking in earnest for our lost Marines. They've been calling in through various means on telephone. They've been going down to the district police headquarters. Some have even been tweeting. And so all of those leads we're taking seriously. We try to cross-reference a single lead with another source if we can, and that will help us refine the area in which we're going to look. So it's a huge expanse of terrain. This is the foothills of the Himalayas. It's cut with countless valleys that we have to look, and they're heavily vegetated. So if we can neck down the areas that we're looking at through multiple sources, that's the best way for us to rescue our Marines.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, Joint Task Force 505, as you mentioned, is there on the ground helping earthquake victims from these 2 devastating quakes. How is that mission going so far?
So my headquarters flew in here as part of the JTF forward command element on the 29th of April. Once we started, we plugged into the existing mission that was going on. Several countries had been here since the day after the earthquake. We've been delivering relief supplies within a sector. That sector just happens to be where the second earthquake hit 3 days ago. And so we switched from delivering relief supplies initially to doing search and rescue. In the process of that search and rescue, we pulled out several dozen Nepali townspeople that were injured. They actually did some live rescues with the Los Angeles Search and Rescue Team that's operating here. And in the course of those operations is when this helicopter went missing. So we've dedicated a portion of our relief mission to finding those Marines. It's our #1 priority. But in the course of delivering and searching for our Marines, rather, we're able to deliver supplies to the towns that are in the area that has been affected. So the helicopters are dropping off supplies. They're scouring the surrounding territory for that helicopter and those Marines, and then they're returning back to Kathmandu loaded with townspeople that might need aid.
Yeah, and I understand in many cases helicopter is the only way to reach these people. There have been landslides created by the earthquakes. People are completely cut off. The roads have been obliterated. How difficult is this mission? I also understand people are sleeping outside, especially after the second one. Nobody wants to sleep inside anymore, and the rainy season is coming. How tough is all that?
This is an extremely complex problem. As you just described, it's complicated not just with the seismic activity, its remoteness, the rugged nature of the terrain, and the impending weather that they traditionally get in about 6 weeks' time. So all of those are complicating factors. The good news is a lot of the roads have been opened up. And so in this district that we've primarily been operating, the Nepal Army has opened the roads to some of the larger towns, and we're being able to use those as hubs in which to radiate out to the more remote villages. Most people think that this is strictly an air operation, and actually it's not. In fact, that is not the case. About 95% of the relief supplies are being delivered by road. And so these humanitarian communities have hired fleets of trucks. They're transloading from the aircraft as they come into Kathmandu Airport. And we've actually lifted a very small minority at this stage of the operation. It wasn't the case when we first got here, but the international relief community has surged its efforts. So a lot of supplies are getting out to those remote areas.
Well, that is great news that you have been able to make some of these roads more accessible now. And you mentioned the international effort. How much help is coming from other countries across the world?
When we first got here, I think there were more than 30 countries that were participating in the operation. Some of them only provided medical support, some search and rescue support. There are larger military missions that are also present. So the Indian Army being announced, they've had their helicopters operating in the western sectors. The Chinese are also occupying a sector, and they're providing relief. They've flown helicopters out of Tibet, as a matter of fact, to come down into the affected areas. We have the fourth sector that is primarily a U.S. sector, and we're working in our search and rescue tonight with both the Nepal Army and the Indian Air Force to augment our search efforts within Sector 4.
All right, well, Brigadier General Paul Kennedy, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you all the best with the relief effort and, of course, the search for that missing Marine helicopter. Our prayers are with you. And you can check out foxnews.com for more on this developing story. I'm Patty Ann Brown. Thanks for watching.